Thanks. Welcome, guys. Obviously, this is exciting. First press conference at the University of Miami. Very excited to be here. I really probably shouldn't disclose this to some of you guys, but I've been coaching long enough to have seen the '83 national championship. I was actually coaching then. I know that shocks some of you guys. You probably think I'm 40 years old, but I'm not. And so I've seen Miami football, Miami defense up close and personal from many venues. And I understand the responsibility we have here. And that history is very important to us, but we're going to be where our feet are, and that is presently, now, and how do we help Coach Cristobal build this program off of that foundation to what it should be and can be and will be. So extremely excited to be here. Excited to get to work. We've already had some work with the young men. We're in the process of hiring the staff, and we'll get that finished. Coach Cristobal has a good handle on that. So we're off and running, excited. Glad to be here and appreciate you guys working today.
Coach, thank you. We'll go into questions for media members on the call, and we will start with Chris Stott from Inside the U. Chris, go ahead for Coach Steele.
Yeah, Coach, I was curious about your principles, the identity you want your defense to play with, essentially some non-negotiables for you as a coach that you're demanding from your players.
Right, and it's not, so it's Coach Cristobal, it's the defensive staff, it's not just me. Obviously, he's hired me to head it up. The foundation will be built on hard work. We've got a lot of work to do. And so, but when we get to the field, to the grass and go from there, we have to be defensively, schematically, you can be a lot of things. And we're going to be a 4-3 defense, but you can be more pressure one year, more zone the next year. But when you come back to it, we have to have relentless effort, physical, mental toughness, and tackling. You have to do those things on defense, or the call does not work.
Coach, we'll go next to Matt Shodell from Kingsport. Matt, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Welcome to Miami. So as you mentioned, you've had a little while coaching some teams here. And I was curious, spring practice is coming up around the corner, and I know you'll get a chance to evaluate everybody. What's your general philosophy? Does everyone start off at square zero? Do you evaluate film and sort of have some predetermined notion of who you think can do what? Do you sort of maybe think about moving some guys, some different positions, like a James Williams to linebacker? Like, how much has to go into this in the next month as spring practice starts rolling here?
Well, I would like to tell you that we have a magic wand and we're just going to kind of hang out and look at the great weather in Miami and ride around. And that's not the case. We hadn't been outside very much. We're in meeting rooms. And we've done just what you just said. We're in the process right now of evaluating the talent and the best place to place them on the first day of practice. So yesterday, in fact, was pretty much all day going back through last year's tape and watching that tape and evaluating the players. We had some of the younger quality control graduate assistants that were in the room that were here last year. Of course, we have Todd Stroud that's been around. And so we've got some people that have been around the program that can tell us, okay, this is this guy, that is that guy. We're spending a lot of time evaluating that talent, try to put them in the best place. And then there'll still be some movement during spring practice, post-spring practice.
We'll go next to Adam Lichtenstein from the Sun Sentinel. Adam, go ahead.
Hi, Coach Steele. Nice to meet you. My question is, I guess, you mentioned that, you've seen Miami's defense, you know what it's supposed to be. I mean, in your mind, what does a Miami defense need to be? Like, what does a Miami defense mean to you, I guess?
Well, the ones that I'm talking about, and I don't know how old you are, but those guys were dominant. They were physical. And basically it was built on the things that Coach Cristobal talks about, because he was around in that time too. He just happened to be one of them. It's work, it's grit, it's toughness, but then playing together with relentless effort and basically just lining up. And I know this is not what people want to hear, but I'm going to talk like I'm in a defensive room. I mean, you want to go into Pro Player Stadium and you want to, in the fourth quarter, you want to make your opponent, start thinking, hey, I can't do this any longer. I mean, let's get on the bus and go home. This is Miami. So just the physical dominance of relentless effort and flying to the ball and tackling and doing your job with a pride. That's the Miami defense that we know, and that's the Miami defense that Coach Cristobal will get built here.
Coach, we'll go next to David Lake from 24/7 Sports. David, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. You already mentioned tackling being, something you stress. I am just curious. How do you go about stressing tackling? I'm sure you're aware it was a bit of an issue for the defense last year. And then second part, I guess, what have you been doing over this past year off? I know coaches are always looking to grow and evolve. And in what ways did you try and study the game during your year off?
Well, I'll go the last part of the question first. I did some consulting work with 3, Power 5 schools, not in the same conference, head coaches that I was friends of, and I actually bit off more than I could chew, to be honest with you, in terms of just watching the offense of the opponent and trying to talk to them about matchups, the best wide receiver, the favorite run, the things you had to stop, the matchups. I did a lot of that, too much of it, to be honest with you. When you get 3 teams, it's hard to do, but I did that. And then, I was actually, wasn't a bad little deal that I had. I was one of you guys for a little bit. I did 2 radio shows every week, so that was kind of fun. It's a little bit different when you're on the other side of it and you're asking the questions and talking about it for fun rather than being the one that has to get it done. Then as far as the tackling, that is something that you have to build with. It's a technique, it's confidence. It's also, some guys are just very talented natural tacklers, but you have to teach them all to be good tacklers. And tackling has digressed, in my opinion, over the years when they started limiting contact in practice, tackling days in practice, fall camp where you only get, 3 days of full tackling, where, when I first started coaching, you were lucky if you had 3 days in a year that you didn't tackle. And so repetition, it's like, for some of you will understand this, it's like your golf game. If you don't go play, you're going to hit it in the rough.
Coach, we'll go next to Manny Navarro from The Athletic. Manny, go ahead.
Hey, Coach Steele. Want to ask you about Mario Cristobal. You've obviously been around a lot of amazing head coaches. I mean, Osborne and Bobby Bowden and all those guys. Just curious, you worked with him for a couple of years. What made coming here and working for him so attractive?
Well, it was pretty easy. Because I had recruited Dade Broward County for several years, and I got to know Mario when he first got into coaching. And then when he was at FIU, we would run into each other in Dade and Broward County pretty frequently. So I got to know him there. And then we, of course, worked together at Alabama. And we were not just on the same staff. We were good friends, and we kind of did things together. So we built a relationship, and it was just, we communicated and stayed in contact when he was out West. And when he got the job, it was something that was talked about a long time ago, actually, a couple of weeks ago. And it was very easy because I know who he is at the core. He's a winner, and he does it with hard work. I know people throw that word out there, but that guy, Mario Cristobal, if you know anything about him, he is relentless. When he gets something in his vision, he is relentless at it. He is a hard, smart worker. And then on top of that, which is pretty key to it in this day and age, he is a phenomenal recruiter. And I've seen that, firsthand, and he is just that. So those kind of things, and then the fact that what this program can be, then you put Mario in charge of it. then it really kind of tells you that you're getting in a vehicle and you know where it's going.
We've got a couple more hands up, Coach. We'll go next to Susan Miller-Degnan from the Miami Herald. Susan, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Let me put my video in here. Hi.
Hello. How are you, Susan?
Good. Nice to meet you. You know, how important do you think it is that the defense philosophy or style meshes with the offense? I know last year it was a very fast paced, a lot of plays, up tempo, and sometimes the defense guys were injured or whatever, and it was hard for them to keep up. They got tired, rotation. Is that important that both work together? And what do you envision for this season?
Well, I will say this. I've coached long enough that, when I first started coaching, they huddled up, stayed in the huddle 15 seconds, and came out and lined up in, the wishbone. I've seen that side of it. And I've been on staffs where, they try to run, 3 plays in as fast as you can run it. And here's the way I look at it. And this is the way you have to look at it. I'm a defensive football coach. I'm not an offensive football coach. I'm not the head coach. We're kind of like the first responders, and our job is to put out fires. And so if the offense turns the ball over, the offense is 3 and out, you don't want your fireman pulling up in front of your house on fire and go, well, who started this fire? Well, why I don't feel like putting out a fire today. They keep starting fires at this house, and I'm tired of doing it. If that happens, the house is going to burn down. That's not our attitude. We don't ask what, why, how it happened. Our job is to go out and physically dominate our opponent and get the ball back for the offense. Don't talk about how it happened, fast, slow, indifferent. It doesn't matter.
Coach, last hand up we have is Heather Dimich from ESPN. Heather, go ahead whenever you get a chance.
Hey, man, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Heather. Good to talk to you again. It's been a while.
I know. Sorry for my mom gear here. Is it too early to ask you about Texas A&M? No, I'm just kidding. Listen, you talked about Mario and the confidence you have in him, but I wanted to ask you more about why Miami, why now? Because it's been a really long time for this program to compete beyond the Coastal Division. What do you see from administration, from resources, finances, etc., that gives you the confidence that this program can compete at an elite level?
Well, I know this. I've been here a short period of time, and I've heard the stories of the commitment, and I sense it and feel it, but I don't know the particulars of that. But I do know the track record of the 2 people that are in charge. Dan Radakovich, the athletic director, I know his track record. I know him personally. And I've never seen anything that he's led not be first class and put all his coaches in a position to compete for national championships. I've never witnessed that out of Dan. And I am a good friend with the head coach now. And I know how competitive he is. I know how great a recruiter he is. And so let's back up a little bit. I don't think that Mario would have ever left the job he had if they were not complete guarantees and he had a full understanding of the commitment, and that's good for me.
Coach, we have one quick follow-up from Susan Miller-Degnan before you take off. Susan, go ahead.
Hello again. I know you've coached linebackers a lot. Are you intending to coach linebackers? Usually defensive coordinator, sometimes there's another position. Would that be linebackers or another one?
Well, I've actually coached linebackers. I've coached safeties. I've been the walk-around coordinator. I've coached outside backers. You probably need to throw up your hands if you see me coaching the D line, but that's a whole nother world in there. Not that I couldn't do it, but that's a little different there. We're going to, at this present time, all things are on the table. Coach is trying to get the best fits for the University of Miami, dynamic recruiters, dynamic teachers, men that will change and develop young men on and off the field to his standard. And so we're actually trying to get the best guy. And so then I will plug in based on where those guys, what that comes up to ultimately.